G'day guys, welcome back. Today I'll be just doing a quick and dirty guide on, well not really quick, but show you the basics on how to get this plane into the air. This is actually a lot of fun, this one. I do like the Dora, but there's something about the 109. I just love it so much. Anyway, let's get into Cockpit. So first things first, what I like to do is get that gun sight out of the way. Oops. I was in slow motion for a second there. But get that gun sight out of the way. Unlike the D9, the 109 doesn't really have a nice cockpit layout. It's not very ergonomic. The 190 was really good in that regard. So our circuit breaker panel is down here. I'm going to click all of them in except for that third one down in that first row. Reason is that's your external lighting. We don't want external lighting here right now. Oxygen on. Coming over to the left. Magnetos on. Pushing the throttle forward a little bit. Get your fuel pumps going. Set your, so this is your governor switch here. I also have this plane set up like my 190. So if you, I'll put a link in the description. Go back to that. Have a look at where I put those. Describe where I put those on my joystick. So your prop pitch indicator is hidden away in the right corner there. And like the forward is manual, by the way. Like the 190, we're going to put it into the 12 o'clock position. It's going to make everything easier. Brakes on, flip the switch up. Unlike the 190, we actually have to get the ground crew to run the inertial starter. And sometimes they don't like listening to me. Down here as well, open up your radiator flaps. Come on guys, don't do this to me now.
Run the starter.
There we go.
Copy.
Now you'll hear it start to wind up, but we're not gonna wait for a certain amount of time. We're gonna wait until the ground crew says, go for it.
Clear.
Left click the pull handle, start the engine, and eventually tick over. There it goes. Now I'm going to put it up at around about 2000 RPM, just under, for a little bit. We're going to get our temperatures up just between those 2 points on each of those gauges there. Now taxiing is just like any other tail dragger. Light inputs on the brakes on left and right to get you moving in whichever direction you want, with opposite braking to straighten you out. Unlike the D9 or the A8 where you can just pull back on the stick and that's your tail wheel locked, the 190 actually has a lever. Now I've actually bound that to my pinky switch on my joystick. Forward and locked is locked, as you could probably guess. Back and open is open, and the tail wheel is released. I'm going to do left Control C, close the canopy, and we're rightfully good to go now. So I'm going to brakes off, pull the RPM back a little bit, and just start edging my way over towards the runway. So you can see from my braking inputs, that's how I'm getting the plane to go in the direction I want. So right, and then counter. And once I'm in roughly the right direction I want, lock the tail wheel, bring the aircraft to a stop. Okay. Now one thing that is recommended, Chuck's Guide will tell you around about 1 degree down of pitch down trim is enough. However, I like to go all the way throughout all courses of flight. This plane is a really lift-friendly aircraft. It just wants to climb. It's actually kind of scary. So with takeoff, I put trim all the way down. That means I don't have to put any stick input. None of this at all for takeoff. Just pure rudder. So when you start going, it'll try to jump to the left a little bit. You counter that with a little bit of right toe brake, but then put in about 80% rudder, right rudder, and just keep yourself tracking straight down the runway. And it will take off on its own. Actually, you don't have to put any extra stick input left or right. Just right rudder, keep it nice and stable, and you'll be good. So just like the A8, we're going to go down to our manifold pressure gauge. I like to take off between 1.2 1.4 depending on how I'm feeling at the time with that amount of pressure. So we're going to throttle up. As you can see, it's trying to bring itself to the left a little bit. Release the brakes. A little bit more right toe, right rudder in. If you find yourself overcorrecting for your rudder, don't overcorrect to the left, otherwise you will lose control of the aircraft. It has enough torque that it will correct on its own. And just like that, we are in the skies. No flaps necessary for takeoff, just 1.3 units of manifold pressure and right rudder, and you're good to go. Once you're in the air, immediately switch everything back to automatic. So prop pitch back to automatic, your radiator cooling to automatic. You will, if you try to ramp up too fast, you will kill the engine. So just make sure you switch those two settings back to automatic when you are going. Cool thing I like about this plane now in 2.5.6 open beta, they adjusted the sounds, and I'm going to switch off my microphone for a little bit and I'll let you listen to the new sounds of the 109K4, because honestly it's absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Alright, so landing. Now with the 109, it's got a variety of different flap settings that you can choose from, unlike the 190, which is half or full. With landing the 109, it's not the correct process, not by the book, but I tend to just get down around about 300 kmh and then drop the gears at 250 and just fly the plane down from there. It's technically not correct, but it's what I do. It works. I get it down on the ground really nicely. Works for me. So quite happy to show you guys how I do that. So as like with everything, takeoff and landing, like in the 190, we're going to get our prop pitch back to the 12 o'clock position. As you can see, our airfield is just over there. Keep going. Alright. Prop pitch back to 12 o'clock. I forgot to mention it before, but as soon as you take off in this thing, you want to set your prop pitch to automatic. I have broken the engine multiple times by not setting it back to automatic. So here we are, just cruising along 300. I'm not going to drop the flaps just yet. Now with this one, it's a little bit trickier than the 190. It's really sensitive to, because you've got the really narrow landing gear, it's really sensitive to how fast you put it on the ground. If you do it wrong, you'll just slide up all over the place, and you really need to be really good with your toe brake balancing. So I'm going to do my base turn here, flaps all the way down, okay, all the way. cut power, 250, landing gear comes down. So I'm just going to hover at 200 kmh for a bit. While we line ourselves up with the runway. Alright, nose in. Now I'm going to be pointing myself just basically right at the end of the runway. Cut throttle. The wings on this thing stall out at about 170. When you get close to the ground, just pull yourself back up. Nose attitude a little bit high until the airplane just gently settles itself down on the ground. Apply toe brakes as needed. Don't go full brakes, otherwise you just send yourself off into the dirt. Balance it out.
Enfield 1-1. Taxi to parking area.
And make sure that you've got your tail gear locked, of course. And that's how you land the 109K. Very, very easy. I used to screw it up all the time. I think the biggest thing that new pilots really need to get their heads around is the prop pitch. 12 o'clock position. It makes everything so much easier than if it was set to auto. Because when you set it to auto, it just tries to give you all the power all at once, and it's just too much. Prop pitch to 12 o'clock position. Remember, that's your prop pitch gauge. And you will not have a problem. Alright, and that's the 109K. That's all three. Have a good one. Cheers. I'm out.